obviously we don't just look at countries, we also look at regions, and logistics is very much to some extent a local business, although you need to have that platform to have your relationships with your tenants, because your tenants are basically also operating internationally. In terms of the countries, we are still very careful with Southern Europe, not surprisingly probably. If you look at where logistics revenues are being generated by logistics service providers, or operationally, it's the large majority of revenues are still being generated in core Western European countries, so Germany, France, Benelux. So these remain core countries, and 3PLs have around 70% of their revenues being generated in these regions. And then within the region, you want to make sure that you have the right locations. But I think the other area which we find quite compelling for the moment is Poland. Poland has been going through a quite dramatic change in terms of infrastructure development. The number of highways has grown. To give you some example, from 350 kilometers before 2000 to almost 3,000 in the next couple of years. And so in Poland, it has become very clear what the core prime logistics locations are or are becoming to be. So places like Łódź, Poznan, Silesia in the south. We believe that Gdansk is going to become very important as well going forward. So there's a clear dynamic there as well, and there's a bit of a shift which happened eastwards, and that's partly because production has been shifting to Poland, but also because disposable income in the region has been increasing. But then you see, for instance, in Germany, German automotive is still very important in terms of demand. You see that companies like BMW, Daimler are investing quite considerably in expanding their production business and have an increasing warehouse need, and that's partly because of demand from China, obviously. And there's some spillover effects in Poland as well. And then if you look at countries like France, which has been dealing with some uncertainty, you have to be selective as to where you are, and obviously it's quite clear where the good logistics locations are on the sort of the north-south axis, from Lille, Paris, all the way down to Marseille, where, for instance, new supply is very difficult because of scarcity of land.
In 3 or 4 buckets, not Northern or Southern Europe, although I'll touch a little bit on that, but mainly, what I call transportation countries, large population centers with local economies focused to serve their population. So UK, France, Spain fall into that bucket. Gateways, where we see big box requirements, European distribution centers, Benelux, Germany. Regional markets, smaller regional markets, Czech Republic, Slovakia, as well, to just to serve their local population and that are closer to the manufacturing centers. Poland, I agree with Emmanuel, who's seen a big shift in infrastructure spent the last 10 years mainly. And we're seeing constantly changing patterns of where the hotspots are because of this new highways, and suddenly you're maybe 10 kilometers off the highway and there's a new hot location where you should be. So we're very big in Poland, and clearly this market has tremendous prospects for growth in the future.
And is Poland sort of the main focus, if you like, for the CEE side?
To a certain extent, yes. Nevertheless, Slovakia and Czech Republic have their own, although on a smaller scale, attractiveness as well, being closer to Germany, Austria, and Poland, and also as a gateway to more eastern countries, Ukraine, Russia.